this knight. Well, I don't know if he's a knight, but he does have a sword, and he's on a horse, and it has like armor on it. So I'm seeing like the back of him. He's riding this horse, and there's like a small trail. So he's in the middle just riding, and he comes into this clearing in the land. So this is more like a medieval landscape. There aren't a lot of houses, and the area is not densely populated at all. Okay, so he's coming into this clearing in this worn out road, and on the left side is a pond, and there are a bunch of beautiful women just bathing in the pond. So he comes across he comes across this pond, and he's shocked, but he doesn't really avert his eyes. He's looking at the women bathing in the pond, and none of them are noticing him. Like they're playing in the water, bathing, gossiping, and they're not really noticing him. So that's where everything just stops. So what this is telling me is, I feel like in conjunction with the spread that's laid out, there's a lot of passionate, playful, sexual energy that is coming into the picture. And I almost feel like you guys are getting your mojo back. That's what it feels like to me. It's like there could be the beginning of a new love, a beginning of a crush, um, feeling a sense of, how you work, you either are friends with someone or you work with someone, and then you always see them as a friend, or you always see them as a coworker or a colleague. And so the romantic ambiance just never crossed your mind, and then something very minor would happen where you start to spend a lot of time with them, and then you start to see them in a different light. And then the next time you notice it, and it makes you feel like, wait a minute, I could potentially date this person. I think I like this person. So I feel like it's a very gradual, slow process where you start to develop feelings, like romantic feelings for a person. I'm seeing this potentially in a work environment where you're starting to feel a certain way about somebody. You're excited. You can't wait to get to work. And you have a little bit of a pep or a bounce in your step because of this attraction. It's almost like it's an attraction that makes the mundane activities that much more magical because of the other person's presence. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, he's walking along this really, it's a road, and there's nice scenery and nice landscape, and he doesn't mind it, and he's the horse is just walking at a brisk pace, but it's still walking. It's not galloping. He doesn't have anywhere urgent that he needs to be. And so I feel like, seeing people again, seeing civilization, seeing especially a bunch of beautiful women, it's a refreshing sight. So I definitely feel like you could also be surrounded by a bunch of um, potential suitors, is what I'm seeing, like a lot of potential suitors, or you're attracted to somebody who, they're really capturing your attention because of the way they look, because of their playful energy, their attractiveness, or things like that. Okay? So, stepping away from that image, let me just talk about the other things that are coming up. I do feel finances, everything looks really good. Okay, so I'm not going to stress too much on that. If there are issues that come up, then I'll talk about it. But finances looks very stable. I mean, you're at a point where I feel like financially, you're able to afford luxuries. You're able to give, money away, lend money to people that need it. And you're even able to invest in things like the stock market, buying and selling. So I feel like, finances looks really stable, looks really good. And I wouldn't say, you're swimming in money, but I feel like you definitely have certain luxury items that you could afford, and you have money squared away in the bank account, and you have investment opportunities or investment opportunities that you have undertaken that are bearing fruit. Okay, we have here the harvest. We have you feeling very emotionally happy with the Queen of Cups. So the harvest is the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, waiting for the harvest. So like investment opportunities panning out very beautifully. And we also have you giving money away as well. So this is a card, Six of Pentacles, a financial windfall, or even giving assistance to somebody. Okay, so I feel like finances, it's not anything that I need to worry about. Compared to like last year, you're in a really good space right now. You have built up your financial foundation and things look really stable. Some of you are in a relationship though, with someone who's a little bit demanding. That's what I'm feeling. And this person has very strong likes and dislikes. Very strong likes and dislikes. I don't think there's anything bad about them. I'm not getting like a bad, stay away type of a vibe. I feel like they know themselves really well. They know what they will or will not do. They like certain types of luxuries. And I feel like this is somebody that, you know, they look really nice. They look presentable. They like to dress nice. They like expensive items. They have expensive tastes. And I also feel they have the financial backing to afford these luxury items. And I also feel like you might feel like this person is a little bit more on the frivolous end. You might feel like they're a little bit more materialistic. You might feel like they're a little bit too demanding. I don't see there's anything bad about them, but I feel like they're very financially independent. So it's not like they're, you know, they need anyone to take care of them, to buy them nice things. They can do it on their own. And because of that, there are things that they don't tolerate and there are things that they will not do. So, and the image that I'm getting is like you could be at a restaurant with this person and, you know, if the food is not done to their liking, they're going to have the waiter send it back. Okay? And you guys are generally very, very easygoing. You know, you're not going to cause a scene at a restaurant and just say like, you know what, waiter, I don't like this food. I feel like for you, most of the Cancerians that I've come across, especially, I feel like you're not going to let that. It's almost like you're not going to inconvenience, you know, the chef, the waiter, cause a scene, ruin the ambiance over something as mild as like, you know, my food is not cooked exactly the way I want. But this is a person who's very picky. Okay, they're willing to do that. And so I feel like, you know, they're a little bit difficult to please and they're a little bit fickle and they just want things a certain way. So I feel like they've also done their fair share of the hard work of their struggles in their own lives. So when they want certain things, they expect it done a certain way. So, you know, they might have been a waiter in the past. They might have dealt with difficult diners, you know, like patrons. And so they know they know that it's not a big deal to ask to send the food back. But either way, I feel like you're seeing a lot more of this demanding side of this person. And I feel almost like you don't agree with it, but at the same time, I feel like you love this person, you care about this person, and you're courteous. And so you're not going to, you know, call them out on it. But I feel like this could be a precursor. If this is not addressed, it could be a precursor towards something, towards the same situation, for example, could escalate at a later date, like in 2 months, in 3 months' time. So if you're out in public and you feel like, oh, you know, their behavior is a little bit embarrassing, or I don't want to draw attention to us, how do I talk to this person so that they don't do this next time? Wait until you're done and wait until you're in the car and you're going somewhere else or you're in the parking lot, and then just tell them, you know, I wish you wouldn't do that. Okay, and then give them whatever explanation you want. But I feel like what would go really, they're very stubborn. They're very stubborn. So I feel like you have to do more of an emotional appeal with them. Okay. So if you were to tell them, if you did that, it's kind of an inconvenience to the chef or to the waiter. They'll tell you, well, I used to wait tables, and that to me is not a big deal. So how do you refute that, right? So that's why you have to do an emotional appeal to them. You can just tell them, like, I feel a little bit embarrassed when we draw that much attention to our table, to ourselves when we're in public. So please don't do that next time. They're going to be receptive towards it, okay? Because I know you guys, you're very under the radar. You guys don't like that attention. And at the same time, you care about this person. So you don't want to shame them or chastise them. But I feel a deep part of you don't agree with their behavior. And I feel like, it could also be like family members. It could be friends as well. I'm not feeling a sense of entitlement, though. I just feel like this is a picky person. They're hard to please, but they are very clear about what they want. And so in the work environment, I'm also feeling like there's somebody who is evading their responsibilities. It's almost like that work is beneath me. I'm not going to do that. And so they put it off until somebody else has to do it. And it's always the Cancers and the Virgos that have to, do the dirty work that no one else wants to do, because you guys are so courteous. And, you don't mind getting your hands dirty because someone has to do it, right? And that's what I'm feeling. And I feel like in this situation, it's a sense of entitlement. But with the other person, I just feel like they're picky. But this person is all like, that is beneath me. I'm above all of that. And it's almost like that's peasant's work. I don't want to do that. And that's stemming from a place of entitlement. With relationships in general, there's a newfound sense of love and excitement and joy and passion. Okay? What I have here is the sun. And this is, two little kids in a field. They don't have a care in the world. They're naked and they're just having fun. They're playing around, exploring. It's like innocently exploring a new relationship, a new love, experimenting as well with your sexuality, and getting in touch with, what makes you feel good. Okay, so that could be in love, that could be in life, that could be in whatever avenue, but this is a romantic card. And what I feel is I'm seeing here Earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I'm also feeling as well, fire energy, Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. You actually have a lot of signs. But what I get with this card is wanting to express, your feelings, your emotion to another person. If you've been keeping it bottled up, close to your chest, not wanting others to look at what's in your cup, not wanting others to know, I feel like the object of your affection needs more of that emotional expression from you. So if it's a crush, they have no idea how you feel about them. Okay, they have no idea. And I feel that because what we have here is the Justice card, which means they feel the same way, but they have no idea. Like, they're not able to look in the mirror. The mirror shows something else than what they're seeing. So if you're wondering, does this person know that I like them? The answer is no. Should you tell them that you like them? I feel like you definitely should. So this is pretty much the Strength card. Don't take the easy way out. Express yourself. Being able to say what's on your mind and not fear censorship. Being brave, being bold, and making a go towards a situation. So don't be wishy-washy and waver and, constantly do this back and forth that you guys always do. This constant back and forth. Should I or shouldn't I? And then, it's like being very indirect. with the object of your affection, wanting something and then having a very confusing roundabout way of going towards, like zigzagging towards the thing that you want. Be very direct and decisive and go after what you want, because I definitely feel there is a really, really big major attraction here, and I feel like it's reciprocated, but the other person is getting mixed messages from you. They're seeing something else in the mirror, and they're not really seeing the torch that you carry for them. Okay. I do get as well, like sexual experimentation. If you are, like, I feel like, same-sex relationships, and I also feel like somebody might have been, straight, and now they're exploring other forms of sexuality. That's what I'm getting. So I'm getting a really, really passionate vibe with this spread in general. And I do feel as well, it's like having an attraction towards somebody that you've always considered your friend. Okay, and that could be same sex, or that could be, people who are in heterosexual relationships. Feeling like it's like somebody you've known for a really long time, since infancy. You work together, you travel together, you might have, slept in the same hotel bed without any qualms in the past. And all of a sudden you're seeing them in a new light, and you're wondering what it's like to be intimate with them. Yeah, I'm feeling for some of you, this can also be coming from another person. So I feel like there's this blurring of friendship and romantic feelings. Feeling something very deeply for a friend or somebody that you've always had a platonic relationship with. But all of a sudden something is happening this year. Maybe they're single. Maybe they dropped that pentacles. They're no longer in a committed relationship, and now they're looking for other options. There is no ring on the fingers, and they're displaying that to you kind of proudly, like, look at me, I'm single now. And so I feel like there are signs pointing you towards this person. There are signs pointing you towards this person. You could be in a relationship, they could be single as well. But I feel almost like you might have feelings for them and you're not really acting on it, because you might be in another relationship, or you have feelings for them, but you're not really sure how they would perceive you. And you're just like, do they even know they like me? So there's a lot of back and forth going on. It's almost like a very clear, calm lake on the surface, but underneath, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts everything is just boiling underneath, but everything is really cool and calm and collected on the surface. So people are not able to see this force of nature that's really, your passion boiling over. I see as well those who are single exploring, doing a lot of experimentation, possibly even experimenting with dating online, or dating if you've been. And I feel like some of you, there's this timidity that I always feel with Virgos and Cancers. It's almost like you guys are very, like, old-fashioned, and there's nothing wrong with that. If it's meant to be, the person will come into the picture for me. And I feel like some of you are very shy about putting yourself out there on the dating sphere, like dating, like online dating apps, online dating websites, even being shy about actively seeking relationship partner, being shy about telling someone how you feel about them. So I feel like the big leap into dating, online dating even, or going on blind dates, that's a huge, major leap for you guys. And I see many of you are contemplating that, okay, or are doing that, and you're like, you have a lot of people shooting messages your way, is what I'm seeing. You have a lot of options. What we have here, Seven of Pentacles. Lots of options. People willing to please you, bending over backwards in order to appease you, in order to please you. And then we also have as well Six of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, juggling multiple options. So you're not short on options, especially for this week. But I just keep going back to this. I feel like some of you have your eyes on somebody, and you're very, very attracted to somebody. You're very attracted to someone. So this is the Two of Cups, feeling that sense of kindred spirit, kindred soul, emotional connection with another person. And I feel like for some of you, it could be an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Okay? I have all kinds of signs, but that's what it's really lining up with. I also have a Libra with the Justice card and a Leo with the Strength card. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Libra, Leos. There are just a lot of people in the picture. So I feel like, it seems to me like you're looking for people who are a little bit more fun, who don't take themselves as seriously, who are, it's like you definitely want someone who's financially independent. You want someone who's emotionally available and emotionally stable. But I feel like you want to explore. You want to, kind of like cast a wider net so that you can meet people from all walks of life and see what the best fit for you would be. So I feel like you're stepping out of this sense of timidity and conservatism. Possibly some of you dating only the opposite sex. You might be experimenting with same-sex relationships, for example. And then for others, stepping out of dating people in your geographical location, or even, exploring with interracial dating or interracial relationships, or even stepping out of your comfort zone geographically. Okay, so I feel like it's a really, really good groundbreaking type of week for you guys. Finances looks really good, like I mentioned. So I feel like, things are just really phenomenal. One last thing that I'm going to end this with. I have the Two of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. Juggling two people. So you might even have two people that you are just deciding between, and you feel like both of them might be your soulmate. It's almost like you have really strong chemistry with one person, whereas the other person you have really strong passion towards, but lack of compatibility. So whatever that combination might fall, I feel like there are definitely two major people that you're contemplating between. And I don't feel like you need to make a choice, but I do feel that if you had to make a choice, it's going to be quite difficult. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoy your week. It's a very, very exciting